trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Trackies, the Camperdown Classic, the preview that I gave you before, definitely, and the race I told you to look out for, it definitely lived up to expectation. A phenomenal run by both Roshawn Clark and Antonio Watson. Fantastic athletes here, young athletes that we have here. So they'll be, among us for years to come when it comes to representing Jamaica on the world stage. But trackies, before I get into that phenomenal race between Antonio Watson, Jamaica's 400 meter, world champion, standing atop the medal podium, gold right there. And of course, our young starlet in the 400 meter hurdles track is the national record holder, a young man that is looking, he's a man, but he's a young man, that is looking to go on to do bigger and better things this year in Paris, potentially walk away with a medal, right? Trackies definitely made it to the World Championship final. Fantastic athlete. Before we get into that race, before we get into the spice and the heat of that race, let's touch on some more previews that I gave you guys. So one, the 400 meters for the women. Kerrica Hill lined up there, and trackies, it was an immaculate run by her. Now, a lot of people in the comment section were reminding me, hey, remember she ran in the 4x4? And I said, yeah, I remember that 4x4 because she ran so good in that 4x4 that the commentators thought she was Brianna Liston because they were looking out for Brianna Liston's performance. But Kerrica Hill was doing phenomenal things. You're like, hold up, who is this girl? Is this Brianna Liston? Wow. So they were completely getting the names wrong. So yeah, but this is her first, flat 400 meters. And let me tell you something. She looks like she was at home running the event. Boy, when I tell you this girl has range, absolute phenomenal range. I don't know if she should, stay stuck with the hurdles for the rest of her life. I don't know. I feel like that's just doing a disservice to her talents. You know what I mean? So maybe in the future we can dibble and dabble some more in the sprints, the 1, the 2, Let's see how that goes. But for now, Chucky, she lined up here and she walked away with the win in the women's 400 meters, running a personal best, 56.26 seconds. Now, anything she ran would have been a personal best because this is her first time running the distance. But considering again that she's an athlete that focuses on the shortest of the distance, she's not going to be going up to the 2, right? So when you consider that, this 56.26 is a solid performance, especially when you compare it to a few of the other senior sprinters, when you look at their personal best and, the times they've gone so far in the, 400 meter distance. So it tells you that, look here, if Kerrica Hill, continues to do these 400 meters as the season progresses, before, we get into full on, sprint mode, then this PB will definitely come down. She looks very easy, very fluid. Now, let's jump on over to the men's section because the men had, quite a few sections here. So I want to touch quickly on Buwaji and Kumi. So he came up in, I believe, section 2 of the men's 400 meters trackies, and he ran a really good race. Now, trackies, he started the 400 meter off like he was running a sprint. He ran out of that, but you know what they say, the 400 meters is a sprint, so maybe he was onto something there, right? So, but I was watching him because I was like, what is he gonna have left in that home straight? And let me tell you something, when he got to that home straight, he was feeling it. But I believe, wanting to do well for himself, plus the fans in the stands, willing him on, he definitely held on as much as he could and ran a solid personal best. Track is dipping below 50 seconds. He placed second in the race, running 49.73 seconds. In first place from Guyana was Shamar Horatio, and he ran 49.02 seconds. Also a personal best for him. So track is the racers, athletes come out, and I did see, also the elite athletes out there as well. So he comes out and he runs a solid personal best here in the 400 meters to get his season rolling. Again, track is these are short sprinters, 100, 200. Don't expect no phenomenal times in these distances, but this for me is a solid opening run for Buwaji and Kumi. Looking forward to see, as the season progresses, and I do expect, based on the time of the year now that I see them running the 4, to see them doing more 400s like this. You know what I mean? Let's jump on over to the race now with I believe this one had Javon Mattison. Now this was, heat 3 or section 3 trackies, and Javon Mattison for the most part, was managing his race up to 300 meters. As he got to that 400-meter though, track is, yeah, man, he felt it. He was feeling the burn, and he tried his hardest, to make it to the line, which he did, running a season's best of 51.20 seconds. So good run by Javon Mattison. Let's see what happens as his season progresses as well. A same thing, short sprinter, 1-2, not expecting anything too ridiculous from these athletes. Taking the win was Kuran Griffin from Barbados. He ran a personal best 48.79 seconds. Jelani Bennett, he ran a time of 50.29 seconds. That's a season's best. And Quintin McLean was third, running 50.59 seconds. Now jumping over, because I really want to get into these things real quick. This was the race with Oblique Seville. Now track is, let me tell you something. I was very, very, very impressed by Oblique Seville in this race. Definitely managed the first 300 well. He was controlling the race literally from the gun, track is. But I was, again, interested to see what would happen in that final 100, because this is where the sprinters die. But not for Oblique Seville. He was a man on a mission. He's like, look here, I'm running a personal best today in this 400 meters, track is. And that he did. And track is, towards the final, I would say 10 meters of the race, when athletes break form and start to slow down, Oblique Seville was out there dipping. There was nobody close to him in the race, but he was still out there dipping for this personal best. He gave his full 400 meters in that race. Absolutely good run from Oblique. I am very impressed. Running a personal best, as I said, 47.44 seconds. Great, great run by him. In second place was Darian Skirit. He's from Antigua. He ran 48.43 seconds. And in third place, also from Antigua, was Craig Prendergast. And he ran 48.49 seconds, also a personal best. So, top three there, all running personal best in this race. As I said, very, very impressed by Oblique Seville. And this just bodes well for the mindset. I'm thinking about the mindset. We've always talked about Oblique Seville, letting up because he's in a race and he's leading, not giving his 100. You know what I mean? Or in this race, the 400. Well, guess what? He gave it every single thing and then some, because when he didn't need to be pushing, he was pushing. As you all know, this is a training run for these sprinters. So I'm absolutely impressed, and I'm impressed again by the mindset. It means that come outdoor season, when he goes to his pet event or whenever they start doing, the sprints, right? We're going to see an Oblique Seville that when he's in this race and he's donkey lensing the people them, or he's doing well, we're not going to be seeing him, losing form, breaking apart, you know what I mean, cruising, whatever he's doing, laughing at the crowd, laughing with the crowd, all those extra things. We're going to see an Oblique Seville that's focused and executing his race, and he will execute that full 100. I'm absolutely, psyched for the future with Oblique Seville. Now let's jump on over to that last race, that 400 meters with Roshawn Clark and with Antonio Watson. I said this was going to be the race, but track is, I don't know if he was in the race before this, or they changed up, the lineup, because I don't think I did see him in the lineup, and I'm talking about Terry Thomas. But Terry Thomas was also here, and I did remember saying also in the lineup was Malik James King. I was looking forward to seeing him in this race as well. Track is, this race was a solid race. No, for me personally, it was always between, as I said, Roshawn and Antonio Watson. Now I'm calling them this way because clearly Roshawn walked away with the win. Now track is, don't get too crazy now. Clearly this is a training run, but it's still an exciting training run seeing these guys come out and test their mettle against each other. Two of them are very young starlets for Jamaica, looking to do phenomenal things in their individual event, and who knows if Roshawn will be taking up the four at some particular point in the future. But for now, in separate events, but right now the 400 meter was where they clashed, and it was a great race. Now Roshawn Clark got out to a phenomenal start, and in my mind I'm like, Roshawn Clark knows the how to win against an Antonio Watson, because if you want to beat him, you have to get out. Because guess what? He is the type of athlete that takes some time to get into his running, and that is exactly what he did in this race. Actually, I was so surprised that he went off so slow, because in my mind, I'm like, maybe he's thinking he has the field covered as to why he ran so slow. And that's probably what he thought. But track is, in that home straight, Roshawn Clark was a little bit too far away. And here came Antonio Watson coming after him. And track is, let me tell you something. It was epic down to the wire. You could see Roshawn Clark falling apart, fighting to the line, and Watson was right behind him coming, and they were dipping. And yeah, Roshawn Clark walked away with the win. It was absolutely amazing. Love to see this, this type of fight between the two young guys, and of course the respect as well for both athletes after the race as well. Showing that yeah, when it's on the track, we leave it all there. Literally, when the race was done, their backs were on the ground. Trackies. That's how much they put into the race. Respect them both for their effort. Rashawn Clark run 46.05 seconds, a season's best, and Antonio Watson running 46.10 seconds for a season's best as well. Remember, these guys are in training, so the times may not look spectacular. Didn't expect them to be spectacular trackies. So yeah, those are the times. No, Terry Thomas. I am glad seeing Terry Thomas come back. He ran a 46.97 season's best as well. If y'all don't remember Terry Thomas on those relay legs for Jamaica, look here. Jamaica a comfy goal. Let me whisper it. Let me whisper it. Look here. If we can, get a good, and I mean Russian car that will be able to manage rounds, separate apart from his 400-meter hurdle. So you get a good Russian, you get a good Antonio, you get a good Sean Bailey, because whenever Sean Bailey, did we have a last year in the 400-meter heard 4x4 finals? I don't remember. I know he picked up an injury. I don't think he made it to the finals. And he's throwing like a Terry Thomas, Jackies. What you think? What you think? And I know I'm not calling a few other names, but Trackies, let me tell you something. This 4x4 is coming, and I'm liking the vibe so far. I'm liking the vibe. But anyway, let's continue. So he ran, as I said, a season's best. Great run for him, and of course Malik James King, a season's best as well. 47.34 seconds. Absolutely great performances, I thought, for these guys. First run, first 400 meters of the season on a track. You would say track is because clearly they're running these races in training. But it's a training run. It is what it is. It was what it was. Just love the energy that the guys put into the race, 100%. Anyway, trackies, let me know your thoughts now. Sound off. What did you make about? What did you think about these races? Sound off. Like the video, of course, and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.